Hello from the Capital City Arcade in New Westminster, British Columbia. Thank you to everybody here for allowing me to come in and talk to you guys about some holiday buyer's guides this week. Today we're talking about the Xbox platforms, and what's interesting about Xbox obviously is that it's really tied to Game Pass, and so it doesn't really make sense to have this machine without also being a subscriber, because of course Xbox provides all of its first-party games as part of that subscription on day and date when they launch. So if you are a subscriber to Game Pass, you get Halo and you get Forza and you get Starfield and all kinds of games. But I do have 10 gift ideas for Xbox players in your life, but keep in mind that most of these games, and I'll clarify with each title, are also available for the PlayStation 5 and for the PC. Let's get started. Number one on my list, obviously, is Starfield, which is a big Xbox exclusive. It's also on the PC, and this was by Bethesda Game Studios, and they just did an amazing job crafting this interstellar experience, this RPG that has all kinds of intricacies built into it. You can build your own base and build your own spaceship. You get into all kinds of really complex relationships with the characters that you meet on the different planets that you explore. You're scanning different life forms and you're collecting research data, and you're getting involved with space pirates and all kinds of stuff. Almost anything that you could imagine in a planet-hopping interstellar RPG experience, they put into this game. You have to want to do all of this exploration. That's the thing about it, is that it's a huge amount of commitment and time, but it's so well built, and the storylines are really compelling. Bethesda did a terrific job with this game. Xbox also surprised us with HiFi Rush earlier this year. This was a real treat and a real divergence from what we had come to expect from Tango Gameworks. This was not another survival horror game like Evil Within or anything like that. This was a cartoony, Ratchet and Clank-like rhythm action-adventure platformer with really cool combat, lots of interesting characters, a silly, addictive overworld for you to explore, and it was just so unique to jump into it. And what they did with this game too at the beginning of the year is they stealth dropped it. They had a big video event, and they said, you can download this right now if you're a Game Pass subscriber. And it is just wonderful. And so if you haven't got this, I suggest probably picking up Game Pass, and then this is available to the Xbox fan in your life, but this is a real treat for sure. And the other Game Pass and Xbox exclusive, which you can play on PC and Xbox, is Forza Motorsport. This is for any of the sim racing fanatics in your life. Obviously, this is a vaunted franchise, lots of love and respect for Forza in its Motorsport iteration as well as its Horizon iteration. Horizon is the arcadey one. This is for those that want a much more realistic connection to their racing experience, but there is an accessibility here. The dynamic racing line, which Forza has always employed, really helps you on your chicanes and navigating all of these complicated tracks. And the tracks are all based on real world data with beautiful lighting effects and visual effects, all of the reflections that you see on the cars. It's a little devoid of some attitude and personality that you obviously see in the Horizon franchise. And you also get a little bit out of Gran Turismo 7, which Sony works on for the PlayStation 5, but it's still compelling with its gameplay. The racing feels incredible. It really does feel like the tires are gripping the tarmac, and it's just so addictive to keep getting better and to keep unlocking new cars and to keep unlocking upgrades and to kind of proving your mettle out there, especially online. Next up on my list is the phenomenal action, adventure, horror experience of Resident Evil 4. This is the unbelievable remake that Capcom made for a game that didn't really need a remake, but they did it anyway, and they outdid themselves. All of the quality of life improvements, the enhancements to just make this a more fun and enjoyable and seamless experience to play. It's not as scary as I think Resident Evil 4 was when it first launched, partially because it's familiar territory, but it's also a little goofier, a little sillier, a little over the top, but it's so fun, so addictive, and so well put together with so much love. You can also feel as you're playing the game that sense of responsibility that the developers had. They couldn't drop the ball with this one. They've done great work remaking Resident Evil 2 and 3 recently, but 4 takes the cake. This is one of the best games of the year and a great pickup for any Xbox fan out there, but of course it's on PS5 and PC as well. Also on PS5 and PC and Xbox is Street Fighter VI and Mortal Kombat 1. You can't go wrong with either of these two fighting games. Street Fighter VI is a little more cartoony, not as ultra-violent as Mortal Kombat is. One of the great things about Street Fighter VI is the single-player experience. Throws in a little, not quite Grand Theft Auto, but you can explore a world and you can get into fisticuffs with all kinds of people that are just milling about, and then you go up and you challenge them and you get into it. Lots of cosmetic customization that you can do in that zaniness. And then you also have this really cool multiplayer online experience where you meet in a hub and there's an arcade and there's all kinds of ways that you can show how competent you are in that experience. And then there are all the local multiplayer and arcade experiences that you can get into as well. Street Fighter VI is an incredible game, but it's matched almost toe-to-toe by Mortal Kombat 1, which of course, as the series has always been, is unbelievably violent. Lots of outrageous fatalities and all of these X-ray shots where characters are just getting punished. So you're squirming as you are also smiling and having a great time with this. The storytelling is totally insane, but also a lot of fun, and it also makes a lot of sense. We've had so many Mortal Kombat games, it made sense for NetherRealm to kind of clean the slate and to start things over, and it's going to be cool to see where this storytelling and the franchise kind of moves forward from here. But Mortal Kombat 1 is a state-of-the-art, gory, awesome, exquisite fighting experience with lots of great DLC as well. So you can't go wrong with either one of these two fighters. Just kind of recognize what kind of fighting game fan you're going to be shopping for. Also on my Xbox list is Diablo IV. It's also on my PC list and my PS5 list. Now, Blizzard worked on this for a long time. It's been ages since the last Diablo game, and the hype was really, really big for this title, and I think most people have come away from this game very, very happy with it. It's gorgeous. It's so rich with detail. There's been so much just love and attention paid to every nook and cranny of the overworld, all of the storytelling with all of the voice work and the narration stuff, just wonderful. The music is incredible. The only complaint that I have with it is that it's an always online live service experience. And the only time that really sucks for me is when I'm on a plane and I've got my Steam Deck and I want to play Diablo IV and I can't. So I'm kind of hoping that Blizzard and now Xbox, who owns Activision Blizzard, will make some tweaks and adjustments to make this thing an offline experience as well. I don't know if they'll ever do that because it's so tied to the in-game shop system and all of the mechanics there. That stuff turns me off a little bit, but the play of this game is unbelievable. It's so addictive. It's so cool. Of course, you can play multiplayer as well, and you're going to see lots of different people playing through their own story in the game as well. That's what happens when you're playing a live service game, but it's wonderful. This is a terrific action RPG. Alan Wake 2 is on my list as well. This is a surreal horror experience, and it's truly a survival horror. It's twisted, it's kooky in some ways, and it will make you smile, but that creep factor is ever present. You're always feeling like things could go wrong. You always feel like you are a little bit vulnerable, and it's just brave in its storytelling because it's so weird, but that kind of throws you off kilter and you don't know what's around the next corner, and the jump scares are going to piss you off, but that's part of the fun. I was just floored by the creativity of this game. It's absolutely one of the best of 2023. And if you've got a horror fanatic that has an Xbox in your life or PC or PS5, they're going to love this one. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is on my list for any Xbox players out there. This was a wonderful treat for Star Wars fans like myself. Cal Kestis returns with his robot buddy BD-1, and we're introduced to new characters that are part of the kind of Jedi Order and the history of the Jedi. There's lots of connections to the previous adventure, Jedi Fallen Order, and also some consequential story beats that happen in here that really resonate and are really powerful. They did a great job at telling the story and also kind of expanding the Star Wars universe. So I'm really excited to see where Respawn and Lucasfilm is going to go with this whole Cal Kestis story. I would not be surprised if we see Cal Kestis in his own live action movie or TV show down the road. For now, we have these incredible games, both Fallen Order and now Jedi Survivor. And these are available for Xbox and PS5 and for PC as well. Wonderful games. And the last one on my list is a kind of smaller title. It's called Cocoon, and this is a very surreal, trippy action-adventure puzzle game where you're carrying around this little globe which becomes the next stage that you're going to jump into. And so you're constantly dealing with this dimensional shift in your thinking, and the perspective is always evolving around you as you're solving puzzles. Gorgeous geometric art design in this, a really cool, enveloping, atmospheric soundtrack as well. You don't quite know what the hell you're doing as you're playing it, but you can't stop playing it. It's hypnotic, and it's a wonderful gift for any Xbox fan in your life. It's also on PC. It's also on PlayStation 5. Now, I'm always asked about great gift ideas for kids out there, and for the Xbox, there are actually quite a few that you can dive into, especially if there's a Game Pass subscription in the family, or you're going to be buying somebody a Game Pass subscription. But I picked out a few here for you. Sea of Stars is this awesome retro-styled action role-playing game that really harkens back to the old Square RPGs for the Super Nintendo system. Cute little characters that become very competent warriors, lots of great magic attacks, gorgeous soundtrack, lots of interesting enemies and characters to meet up with and have relationships with. I was really floored by the quality of Sea of Stars. There's another game called Jant that I've been playing from Don't Nod, and this is an interesting action-adventure climbing game that really makes me think of the stuff that Fumito Ueda has been working on, like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. In this game, you are climbing this cliffside, and there are all these little nooks and crannies that you have to examine and explore, and you're finding out a little bit about the history. It's atmospheric and lonely, but it's also beautiful, and I think the dynamic of how they structured climbing is a great new hook. Don't overlook Jusant. It's very cool. And again, I think Cocoon is weird and strange and confusing, but I think kids are going to eat it up because of its beautiful artistic style. It's interesting play with this idea of jumping in between dimensions. I think it's so imaginative and so creative and so beautiful that any kid gamers in your life are going to love playing it. And I've talked a lot about this already during this piece, but if you're buying a gift for a new Xbox player in your life, consider checking out the Game Pass subscription as a potential gift for them. They're going to unlock all kinds of Xbox exclusive titles, a lot of fantastic, historically significant games, lots of great stuff from the original Xbox and the Xbox 360, but also all of the developers and publishers that Microsoft works with are delivering constant surprises on there. And as I'm recording this, you can download Lies of P. Jusant is one of those titles. Persona 5 Tactica, Dead Space on EA Play, which is part of the Game Pass subscription. You can play that amazing survival horror game that came out earlier this year. And Planet of Lana, which is another great indie-scaled experience as well. Game Pass absolutely is probably the best value in gaming. And if you've got an Xbox player that for some reason isn't already subscribed, that's a great gift idea for you. All right, my friends, that's going to do it for my thoughts for any Xbox fans in your life. Make sure you check out the Nintendo video that I put together and the PlayStation 5 video that I put together. I'm also going to do something on hardware that came out in 2023. Thank you for watching this. We'll see you soon. And until then, play forever.